debate at committee stage. Carol Beaumont's, I thought, was very good, and can I acknowledge the point she made, only 17 submissions to the Select Committee. I think, perhaps like her, that doesn't signify a lack of interest in this bill, but rightly or wrongly, I think rightly shows a view out there in the community that we're doing something about this and doing something good. Can I also acknowledge Sue Kedgley's contribution, again a very thoughtful one, and can I acknowledge her advocacy for animals for some time now in this Parliament. I don't want to rehearse the arguments in favour of this bill. I did that at the first reading for this bill, and I've done it in other places. But can I just say, I do think this bill shows Parliament at its best. It shows us uniting on an issue for the most part without trying to score political points, and I think that's a wonderful thing indeed. Can I also just address the concerns in the Select Committee's report back on the bill, where they raise a couple of concerns, and one of them is the one that Sue Kedgley raises today in this House. Let me just go through them. Firstly, there is the concern that there are only 5 full-time Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry inspectors in New Zealand to undertake prosecutions for animal cruelty, and there are insufficient resources, the report says, to pursue all cases of cruelty, with 92% of complaints made to the SPCA. So that was the concern of some on the committee. I think it's a valid concern to have. I've consistently said in relation to that, there's good work being done by pro bono prosecution panels, or at least one established in Auckland with the very best lawyers on it, that goes, I think, some way to addressing that, because that's where the real expense is in the court cases, and so first-class lawyers are taking those cases on for free. I think the other thing we can say, of course, is what the Minister has said, and he is to be heartily congratulated for, in tight times, finding an extra $8.2 million of funding over 4 years to boost animal welfare activities, around $5 million of that going into animal welfare enforcement and compliance, and he's gone through the various, or the breakdown of some of that. So I think that's perhaps not an entire, but I think it is nevertheless a robust answer to that concern. Look, the other thing that concerned some on the committee was a belief, or rather a disbelief, if you like, that increasing the length of sentences will by itself result in a decrease in cases of cruelty to animals, especially since only 10 people have ever been jailed in New Zealand as a result of animal cruelty charges. And look, again, it's a valid concern, only 10 people ever. I would say to the House, look, actually, the fact we've only had 10 go to jail is all the more reason to pass this bill and to do something so that when these cases do come to court, they are given the appropriate severity and they are treated with the appropriate seriousness. But the point I want to make is this. When this bill, and I accept Sue Kedgley's point, it was a much more modest bill when it was my member's bill, came or was drafted, really what I was simply trying to do was achieve a message being sent to the judiciary to toughen up their game here and treat this more seriously. I actually think there are good signs, quite strong signs, that that is occurring, and I know it's early days and the bill hasn't even passed, but my understanding is since this bill there's been a couple more cases of imprisonment for animal cruelty. Certainly I'm aware of this one reported in the New Zealand Herald May 26. Farmer jailed for cruelty to thousands of chickens. An Auckland poultry farmer has been jailed for a year for causing suffering to thousands of animals kept in what were described as filthy and inhumane conditions. So my point really to the House is actually I think 10 is an indictment on animal cruelty in this country. My view is actually we're seeing signs that that's going up.
Stuart Nash.